Why is there so much skepticism around the idea that Gronk will stay retired?
Good morning, Greeny. Let's start with some fun here from the streets of suburban Boston. Driving down to Gillette Stadium, look up at a billboard, and here's a tweet I sent out just a couple days after Gronkowski announced his retirement. Honk if you love Gronk. It sort of highlights the love affair that this region has with Gronkowski. But why so much skepticism? It comes down to the timing, Greeny. You remember, Rob Gronkowski said it would take him about 1 to 2 weeks after the season to make his decision, but it ended up dragging, into months. And then what really happened behind the scenes, when you drill down further, the Patriots were pursuing tight end Jared Cook as a free agent. Cook asked Bill Belichick, hey, what are your plans with Gronkowski? In turn, Belichick goes to Drew Rosenhaus, the agent for Rob Gronkowski, and says, any idea what Gronk is thinking? And that sort of sped up the process for Rob Gronkowski to make that retirement announcement. So if you're skeptical, the idea is, well, Gronk was taking his time to make that decision, and then that little process sped it along. Maybe he wasn't ready to make that decision at this time.
Well, so Mike, you've covered him for years, so I'll just ask you, what are your thoughts on whether or not we will see him back on the field again?
Greeny, rule number 1 of covering Rob Gronkowski: expect the unexpected and hang on for the ride. So here's what we're balancing. On the one side, you have Tom Brady making that call that Drew Rosenhaus talked about, saying, Gronk, come on back. We need you. And I could see Gronkowski saying, okay, Tom, let's do it one more time. But then you look at the other side. He doesn't need the money. He's got the championships and his body, Greeny. That's really why he made this decision, was the body was beat up. Does he really want to go through it again? So I'll play along. I'll give you odds. I'll say 87% he stays retired.
Okay, that's a good number. Thank you very much. Well done, Mike Reiss. 87 leaves a 13% chance that he does come back and play. So what do you think, guys? You've heard this whole conversation, Swagoo. What are your thoughts?
Gronk's done. I really don't think this decision has been rushed. How long have we been hearing Gronk talk about retiring? For almost 2 years now. And you and I sat right here at this desk and talked about Gronk being in reflection mode at the Super Bowl.
Yep.
He was about to play for the Super Bowl, and he was talking about the rigors of the season, what you go through in the offseason to prepare your body. And here's another thing, too, that a lot of people have to understand about NFL players. Gronk has a bright future outside of the game. And most guys hold on to the NFL because that's the only thing they identify with. I think Gronk has more up his sleeve outside of the league, off the field, than going back and trying to play and get another Super Bowl.
I agree with the Swagoo here. A lot of people think that Gronk has rocks for brains, right? The entire crew, everybody thinks they're just a bunch of meatheads. I don't think that's accurate. I think they think a lot of things through. He teased that he was going to retire last year whenever they were thinking about trading him to Detroit. I think that conversation with his family has already happened. He enjoys the hell out of his life. It's very obvious. And when you win a Super Bowl, it's going to take a couple weeks to continue to party. He was on a cruise ship there with his lady. He was out in an island. He did the parade, obviously better than most people do the parades. I think Alexander Ovechkin is the only comparable person to celebrating a victory as him.
Ovechkin got him.
Ovechkin did well. He was with the Cub, Lord Stanley in there. But Rosenhaus's job as a businessman for Rob Gronkowski is to set up potential opportunities later. Last year when it happened, they worded it as a potential lucrative acting career on the other end. Now Rosenhaus is like, hey, week 10, maybe he comes back to the NFL. It's always good to have opportunities, but I think Gronkowski will spike and dominate anything he gets into next. I think he's done.
Super quick, though. The notion that Booger brought up, which is that at that stage of his life, he just doesn't want to deal with camp anymore and all that kind of stuff and come back in the middle of the season.
No player at that point wants to deal with camp or the season. Gronk has more to do. Gronk has been, he's been in a perfect situation with the greatest quarterback of all time. So he went a year longer than he probably planned on playing this season.
But
Gronk's
got another ring.
He got the chip.
And he's got Wahlberg, Rock, Sylvester Stallone
there's nothing
tweeting at him.
There's nothing else for him to do.
Gronk is going to dominate, man.
Seems that way.